Hi, I'm RJ, one half of the D Podcast. I've always had a love for food, cooking, eating, and sharing with those I love. And after starting the podcast with my husband Adam, I discovered my love for theme park food. I mean, I can't get enough of it, girl. So what better time than now to fulfill my childhood dreams of being a TV chef? I mean, what else is she doing right now? I'll show you how to bring the magic of the theme parks into your own kitchen. Some recipes may turn out great, some may not, but hey, we'll have fun along the way. The D Podcast presents Food Rocks. Yes, girl. Look at how happy she is. Hello. Welcome to another episode of Food Rocks. Today, I want to preface, before we even get started on this episode, I just want to say that I am not a baker. I never wanted to be a baker. I don't know baking. I don't know bakers. I don't know any of that. I am not a baker. All right, let's just get that out of the way now so that you know the expectations that I had for myself this entire episode and what you should have for me as well. Okay, I am not a baker. Thank you. Today's episode is really special because I am going to be making an iconic Disneyland recipe. It is the Matterhorn macaroons. If you can already tell, I have already been to war. I love the Matterhorn macaroons so much. Growing up, we actually had a macaroon recipe. In the Philippines, my aunts and uncles on my dad's side all lived on the same street, where it was like just different houses down the street, and you would just like go from place to place on like, if one person was making lunch, another person would be making dinner. It was a good time. And every time we would visit, because we lived in Manila, every time we would visit my dad's province, it would always be kind of like a nice feast. And one of my aunts would always make coconut macaroons. So in the Philippines, you would make them in little, almost like mini muffin tins with a little like crinkled paper. And you would just like have them, like I would have like a bag or a tray that we would take home on the drive back and would just like eat it in the car. When I went to Disneyland and had the Matterhorn macaroon for the very first time, it was the first time I like saw a coconut macaroon as more of like a cake type situation rather than just like coconut baked in a little muffin shape. I love the Matterhorn macaroons. I love the Matterhorn macaroons. I just have like fond memories of like Adam and I eating a macaroon, getting like a Joffrey's cold brew or whatever the heck it was, and just sitting outside of Jolly Holiday and then just like watch the day go by. I went to like Back to Basics and went to like Barefoot Contessa herself, Ina Garten, to look at her macaroon recipe. And she basically makes her very traditionally a little bit more of the French style, which is basically just like egg whites, sugar, coconut. That's it. I ended up doing a version of it first of the basic traditional French way of doing it. She did not look like a Matterhorn, but she tasted very good. There's a blog called Rumbly Tumbly. They did a version of it. Disney Food Blog reposted it. So I went ahead and tried that, which is a little bit more like a traditional sugar cookie recipe with flour, sugar, creamed butter. So you'll see it. You'll see how it ends up looking like. Enjoy me trying and not fully succeeding. Have fun. Good morning, everyone. Here's how you make the Matterhorn macaroons. You're going to cream a cup of butter, room temperature, with half a cup of granulated sugar on your mixer. You're going to add a teaspoon of vanilla, teaspoon of salt, and you're slowly going to add in 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Make sure it doesn't go everywhere like I did. My God. First of all, look at my cute little rubber spatula. I got it from Sur La Table. Anyway, it comes out like a dough like this. You add your desiccated shredded coconut. That's about a cup. The recipe called for it to be like pulsed first on like a food mixer. I just kind of used just straight from the package because I liked the strands of the shredded coconut the way it is rather than like a pulverized powder. So I'm splitting it up into 8 different Matterhorn mounds. Recipe called for 12. I did 8. Do 12. Don't do what I do. Because then you'll be able to make smaller, thinner Matterhorns that you can kind of get to the height that you want it to be. It should look like this, like a little mountain. You're going to put that in an oven for 325 degrees, about 15 minutes until you see that edges brown. So I'm setting up a double broiler here. That's water boiling. And you put in your white chocolate morsels. That's about half of the package. And you just really stir that until that white chocolate is melted. As you can see right there. Don't leave. That was my mistake. I left and then all of a sudden it was like bam, like that already. So just stay by the stove, keep stirring it. Make sure that white chocolate is melted. Your macaroon should start to look like this. Hopefully it looks better than mine, not as chalky. And you can start slathering on that white chocolate. The recipe called for white candy melts, if you would rather use that. I just like the richness of white chocolate. Hi, Friedrich. He thinks he's going to get some food, but he's not gonna. And then to finish off, just arrange them on your cutting board like me, and then sprinkle on that powdered sugar for a light little powdered snow on the peaks. And there you go, Matterhorn macaroons. Hi, this is the Matterhorn macaroon in its completed glory. Okay, here we go. Look at that. The original recipe called for, this makes 12 macaroons. I made 8 because I was like, there's no way it's gonna like be enough for 12. Kind of sinks on its own because of the weight of the macaroon when it bakes. So I think by doing 12, each macaroon is smaller and lighter, so it doesn't sink as much. So I mean, I didn't really get that much height. This is probably the tallest that I got. Also, the recipe was for candy melts, not white chocolate. Sorry about that. So the chocolate is a little bit of like caked on. It doesn't like dry right away, so you can see. But here we go. The Matterhorn macaroon. Here we go. Okay. Okay, now I'm tasting, I think, what it tasted like. It almost really just feels like a sugar cookie that's like thicker. I wish it had a little bit more brown on the actual macaroon. I should have done like an egg wash and milk situation. The original recipe also called for almond and coconut extract. Same amount as how you did the vanilla extract, and I think that really would help the dough because right now it just tastes like a vanilla sugar cookie. The dough is a lot the dough is really coarse. It's not holding up as I remember it to be. I would say if I had to rate the success of this recipe to the actual baking, I would rate this a 6.5. I'm happy. I made something that is edible and pretty darn good. Not the best, but pretty good. And that's it for me from Food Rocks. You can find us at the D Podcast on Instagram and on Twitter. We have new content every Friday, whether that's a new podcast on your audio feeds or a new video on YouTube or on Instagram. So just make sure you stay tuned. We are a proud podcast of the Not A Bit Network, so you can check us out, notabit.net, so you can see all of our different shows. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you in another episode. Bon appetit.